Hey guys, welcome to Hollywood Hills. This week we're going to go international flavor. We've been focusing in on all the local events. This time it's over the pond to Red Bull Romaniacs. Now the big story coming into this event was our big Wade Young walking away with that massive win last year. The year before, he left that massive dent at the end of that downhill. He bounced back from it nicely to come into this season as the reigning champion. So all eyes were on him. He had a pretty good run through the prologue, qualifying inside the top 10. It was Taddy that walked away with the prologue win, setting himself up. But everyone knew that Taddy wasn't going to be a real player when it came into the mountains. This year, it's been the usual suspects of Johnny Walker, Alfredo Gomez, Jarvis, and this year, Letty, baby Letty, Manny Lettenbichler, came into this one in great form. Certainly a rising star in the WESS. We also had a couple of SA riders going across there to see what they could do. Matty Green, Dueno, Oosthuizen, also a couple of silver class riders. I think we had Aki Bergman and Jay Kaczynski getting across there trying to see what they could do in the silver class. But let's focus in on what went down. So the big story was on day one in the forest. An incredible ride saw Wade Young actually get himself up to finish the day second overall. So he was really climbing the ladder, had a good charge going. Then on day number two, a very early problem for him. He actually had a clutch issue, had to go back into the pits, do a rebuild on the clutch, then go back out. Obviously pushing a little bit too hard, smashed his foot into some concrete, said it wasn't a big impact until the end of that day. Man, check out the pictures of his foot. And unfortunately, he said as soon as he tried to put his foot back into the boot, he could actually feel the bones moving around and he had to bow out. So big story was the reigning champion could not defend, making sure there was going to be open gates for the rest. But obviously, we send our love and our healing thoughts out to Wado, and he's going to have to try and I think it looks like a couple of broken metatarsals. So it's nasty, bro. It's nasty. The rest of the guys went out there and got the job done, hammering the nail the whole way through the 4-day event in the forest. And it was a nasty one this year. Lots of rain, lots of loose terrain, and lots of mad downhills and climbs for the guys to deal with. At the end of it, it was Manny Lettenbichler that actually walked away with a slender win. 40 seconds is only the gap that he had coming in ahead of Alfredo Gomez, with Jarvis, the old warhorse, once again on the box in third place. The big story for Manny Lettenbichler, though, is 10 years ago, it was his dad, Andreas Letty Lettenbichler, that walked away with the win at this very event. So a big game changer in the history of the sport. First time father and son have won the same event in a 10-year program. And I don't know who was more happy, father or son. But it's Manny that's on top, and now Manny that goes into the second half of the season as a huge threat for the WESS win, with Billy Bolt finishing outside of the podium places. On the South African side, listen to this. First time he went across there, he was just 16 years old. That's Matty Green last year, which meant he could only race in the silver class. He had a good run, though, in the silver class and a very high position. This time around, he went across as a gold class rider, 15th overall, at one of the toughest events, if not the toughest event in the world, against the world's very best, Greeny, smashing a number 15. That's absolutely huge. The other guys that went across there joining him, Dueno on the KTM and on the Husky, it was the big kid William Oosthuizen. They unfortunately got time barred only just on the penultimate day. So Dueno wasn't going across there with the best fitness, and for Oosthuizen it was a learning curve situation. First time he's been out there trying to figure out this event. So those guys will be back, and they will no doubt be trying to get their passports ready for the 2020 running of the event. But a huge event and very, very cool. But for me, the standout rider's got to be Greeny, number 15 for SA. I've always known how good this kid is. He's still a bit small in the leg, but his heart is huge and his riding talent is absolutely massive. So that was what went down at Romaniacs. So what we've got coming up this coming weekend? Well, it's Women's Weekend, which meant there was a gap on the calendar. And the guys at 424 reacted nicely to this. They've got Farmania coming around the bend. They've sent us a couple of drone shots and a couple of ideas to give you a look and feel of how the track is going to be running. There's going to be a junior loop and a senior loop, and there's going to be camping facilities and everything. So if you guys are lastminute.comming, you haven't got anywhere to go, you haven't got anywhere to treat the wives, mothers, daughters, girlfriends, if you guys want to go hang out with those guys and go racing, it's going to be an absolutely huge event out there at Standerton. We're excited to see who can make the trip and who pulls in and takes the wins. But it's much more of a fun event than a race, so just go out there and have a great time with your significant other. The weekend after that, it's a venue change, not a date change, but a venue change for the GXCCs as they roll into their penultimate 3 rounds of the tour. What was on the calendar for the next round going to Rustenburg has now been moved to Carletonville. This coming out of the mouth of the big guy from GXCCs, Lawrence, of course. It's all about the fact that cars raced there a couple of weeks back and the track has been churned up not to dust but talcum powder, which means we were going to get into another Bapsfontein situation. We didn't want everyone to go racing into a wall of dust. It's super dangerous and just not too much fun. So a good decision for GXCC management. Moving from Rustenburg, we now go racing at Carletonville. The weekend after that, it's fun times for us as well because it's a stacked racing month. 24th, and that's the last racing weekend of August, it's Farm Jam as they also head into the second half of their season. We're going to be up there putting together a full production for the guys. So if you guys want to get a little bit of highlights and a little bit of TV coverage and airtime, head on up there. We're certainly going to be there. And the Farm Jams have been running really good numbers as well. They've been a little bit slow on the kids side, but that was in the winter school holidays. We're expecting to see a stacked gate of almost 300 riders this time around. So we hope you guys can get all the way up the road for that one. We're also going to give a high five to the guys from 421. What were they up to this weekend? Brian Herbst always gives me the skinny on what the boys were up to. This time around, it was one of Swanee's little farm events that he runs a couple of times through the season. David managed to bag the whole shot, and Louis Roos actually walked away with a 4th place finish at the end of that. So obviously the rebuilds on David's bike starting to look good, and he's now got 2 weeks to prepare himself for the GXCCs. Then there was another event as well for the 421 racing guys, the Wildcat event up in the northwest. Quintus Swanepoel walking away with the win on that. For Brian, Gideon and Marty though, they took the weekend off and they're going to be chilling hard, just preparing themselves for the next GXCCs. On the same weekend as Farm Jam, there's also a round of the National Enduros. So that moves all the way down to the Cape. So it's not going to affect the entry for the Farm Jam guys. So we're going to be racing off-road and cross-country lap racing at the Farm Jams. And then down at Robinson, the Rock Hoppers are going to be getting the job done down there. Also, remember to check out for Farm Jam and Vans Racing. They're still running their winter special on all their blowout for the 2019 range of the Husqvarna winter kits. So if you guys want some stuff, hook up with Melissa. All the numbers for the shop and her personal cell phone are down the bottom of the screen there. And it's still chilly, guys. It's still chilly. Winter ain't over yet. So that's it for Hollywood Hills this week. A big review of Romaniacs. A big high five once again to Matty Green. And we get ourselves ready as we hold our breath for Farm Mania, GXCC, and Farm Jam just around the corner. Cheers.